Are you looking to sell your home in the San Francisco Bay Area? Don't sign a listing agreement with a real estate agent until you ask them these 9 specific questions, which I'll be going right after this. Welcome back. My name is Corpus. I'm a realtor in the Tri-Valley area in the East Bay of the San Francisco Bay Area, and I post videos every Friday about all things real estate. As mentioned in the introduction in this video, I want to talk to you about the top 9 questions that you should be asking a real estate agent in order to make sure that you pick the right one. So you see, there's a lot of misconceptions about a listing agent. And what we need to understand is that a buyer's agent is very different from a listing agent. There are many people that are amazing at helping people buy a home, but they don't have the right expertise to get the most money for the least amount of time for your home in an efficient manner. So what I want to do with this video is make sure that when you're interviewing multiple real estate agents, that you're asking the right questions and you're asking questions that are gonna keep an agent on their toes. So without further ado, let's talk about the top 9 questions you need to be asking any real estate agent when going to sell a home. Question number 1. The first question you want to ask is how many listings do they currently have? There are a couple of ways to go about this. The first way to look at this is if they have a number of listings. That means that they're comfortable with being a listing agent and they have managed to get other listings on the market. The other way to look at it is if they have too many listings. Sometimes they might not have the right amount of time to service your property, so you want to make sure that you ask them how many listings that they have, but you also want to make sure that you ask them if they can also service yours and allocate the right amount of time, because if they're too busy to service your listing because they've got all these other listings, and nobody wants this, but some agents do put a bigger priority on higher price listings. So if you're in a lower or medium price bracket and they've got a lot of listings that are in the upper price bracket, then we want to make sure that they're still gonna have the right amount of time to allocate to your listing regardless of the price. Question 2. So question 2 has to do with performance-based statistics. You want to ask, what is the average days on market for properties? Because again, it's important to understand that here, at least in the San Francisco Bay Area, the average days on market depends again if it's a detached single family or a condo, but it's usually about 14 days. Now, if you got an agent where they're selling a couple of homes, but the average days on market is maybe closer to 21 days, for example, it could be for a different number of reasons. You want to be mindful of the fact that there could be a couple of things holding them back from getting the job done. I know a lot of people that either have to move because of a job situation or they need to relocate because of family, and if you got a timeline that you're working at, but the average agent's days on market are exceeding that timeline, it might again raise a couple red flags that you want to be mindful of in order to make sure that you are going to reach the timeline that you're hoping for, so the process goes smoothly and you have your expectations met. Now, number 3, staying on top of performance-based statistics, you want to ask what their average list to sales price is. So this is something that any listing agent should be able to rattle off at any given time. And it's another important number because, again, the average list to sales price for a number of properties in the Tri-Valley area in the San Francisco East Bay can be around 105%, for example, and sometimes even more depending if it's a detached single family home versus a townhome or condo. But you want to make sure that you're getting the most amount of money for your property in the least amount of time. So you want to make sure that the listing agent's average list to sales price is closer to 104 or 105%, which means they're pricing the property properly from day one. And also something I want you to ask in regards to the list to sales price is not the list to sales price on what it was listed for when it's sold. You want to ask the list to sales price for when it was originally listed for and what the difference is there. So for example, you could have a property that started at a list price of 1.5 million and then they reduced it down to 1.4 million, but it sold for 1.42 million. So that list to sales price would be quite strong, but they started at 1.5 million. So you want to ask, what is the list to sales price based on the original list price? Because that's going to give you an idea if there's a trend of multiple price reductions or sitting on the market or anything like that. Because again, you want to make sure that you're pricing properly from day one. Because usually if you price properly from day one, you get the most amount of money for your property. It's not undercutting it. It's not underselling it. It's not getting you less money. You want to price properly because usually within the first 14 days, that's when you're gonna get the most amount of money for your property. And if for whatever reason, your property is priced slightly lower than the market says it is, that's when you run into multiple offers, which is a great thing. Which is competing offers where you can try and get them to go up and over list price. So again, you're not gonna run into a situation that's not gonna come as a negative from pricing it properly from day one. Question number 4 is asking the agent if they've sold a property in your area. So every single city has multiple different areas, and within each different area has different types of properties, different demographics, different styles of homes. There's so many different variables that you need to take into account. For example, over here in the Tri-Valley area of the San Francisco Bay Area, we have different cities such as San Ramon, Dublin, Pleasanton, Livermore, Danville, and Alamo. And each of these cities mentioned has vastly different niches within each pocket of community. So you want to make sure that you're asking a listing agent if they've sold any homes recently in your area. So question number 5 relates to marketing. Do you do professional photos and not to take them yourself? Do you hire a professional photographer? So this is a mistake I see so often where a listing agent will tell somebody that they will take professional photos, but they're actually telling you that they're gonna use a camera like I'm recording with, a DSLR, and they're gonna take the photos themselves, and that's not a professional photo. You can easily tell the difference. So a home is usually the biggest investment in most people's lives, and you wanna make sure that when you're gonna sell it, that you're representing it in the best light, to its best ability, and that comes with making sure that the marketing is a proper reflection of your initial investment. So you want to make sure that you ask the listing agent if they hire a professional photographer in order to do the photography. Whether they do a twilight shoot, whether they do drone photos or anything like that, you want to make sure that your property is properly represented to the best of its ability, and that comes with doing professional photos by somebody where it's their full-time job. For full-time real estate agents, our job is to sell a house. Our job isn't to take photos of the house. There are other people out there that do that all day and every day, and they know the exact angles. They know how to highlight the property the best. They know how to make it look absolutely fantastic, and that's how you want your home to be represented. So you want to make sure that you're asking if they hire out professional photographers for your home so that the marketing and the initial photos look fantastic. So we all know, statistically speaking, that a buyer online only looks on average at the first 3 photos. So if the first 3 photos don't look that good, even though your property could be the perfect fit, it could look gorgeous on the inside and it could be absolutely beautiful, that's well maintained, and if it doesn't show like that in the photos, your property is actually going to be skipped by potential buyers, and that's not what you want. You want them to be going down and looking at all of the photos and inquiring about a showing and showing interest in it, because that's what you deserve. So make sure if they're taking professional photos. You can even take it a step further and see if your agent will have any professional videos done, or even a 3D Matterport tour of your home done, which is similar to the same type of technology to Google's Street View, where you could get a 360-degree view of the surroundings. For 3D Matterport, you're actually getting a 3D virtual tour of the actual home that buyers can use to virtually tour every single room in the house from the comfort of their home computer. Question number 6 is again along the lines of marketing. Where will your property be featured? Will it be featured on sites beyond Zillow, Redfin, and Realtor.com? So we at eXp Realty, we've got one of the largest global syndications of online property websites in the world. So your property will be featured on every single website humanly possible in regards to real estate. So no matter where anybody is looking and where they're located, your property will show up, and you want to make sure that your property is getting that kind of exposure when your home is on the market. So if somebody's on a website that's not in the San Francisco Bay Area, they're still seeing your property if they're interested in moving here. You want to make sure that if they're in the United States as well, and they're looking on US-based websites, you want to make sure that your property is being featured everywhere possible, so that no matter where somebody is looking online, if they're looking to move to San Francisco Bay Area, or if they're in the Bay Area already looking on a website that's not popular for whatever reason, you want to make sure that your property is still showing up. So make sure you ask where your property is going to be featured. Question number 7. So in terms of the marketing is, what is your marketing strategy for me? Personally, I specialize in online digital and video marketing. I help agents over at eXp Realty on how to market homes and get it sold for more money in the least amount of time. So I'm strong at that. So one of my fortes is being able to show people that my marketing strategy using social media marketing and online digital strategies, I will get your home in front of thousands of people per day, more than just the standard property websites that people are thinking about, like Realtor.com, Zillow, and Redfin. You want to make sure that you understand their marketing strategy to make sure, because here's the thing, there are always buyers out there that aren't actively looking or aren't working with a realtor, and that's what's happened to me with a number of different clients, that my social media marketing got in front of a buyer that wasn't looking on any websites for a property, but because my property that I had listed was a good fit for them, and it was a great opportunity because it was something that they would have loved, and they went ahead and they purchased the property, but they weren't actively looking on any website. So you want to make sure that you ask your listing agent during the interview, what is their marketing strategy, to make sure that you're covering all the bases and making sure that you're getting in front of people, even if they're not actively looking for a property. That same note, question number 8 is, you want to make sure that you ask if they're using social media. Yes, there are other digital avenues that work very well, but social media is very relevant right now, and a lot of people are spending a majority of their day on social media. So you want to make sure that your property is getting in front of those people where their attention is, and that comes by way of leveraging social media marketing. So ask them if they're doing Facebook ads. Even beyond that, will the property even be showcased on other social media platforms such as Instagram? Will your agent be using trends like Instagram and Facebook Reels to get your home noticed even more? So Reels are the newest trend in social media, and Instagram and Facebook tend to push these types of videos out more so than any other type of content. So make sure your realtor knows how to use this to your advantage. Finally, question number 9 is, what is their communication and feedback strategy? One of the most common pieces of feedback that I get from any home seller that didn't sell their home with a different agent and decided to work with me, I asked them what went wrong with the other agent. And one of the most common pieces of feedback that I get is that there was no communication. They listed it and they fell off the map. There were showings, but there was no feedback. So you want to make sure that your listing agent is giving you feedback after every single showing. So I'm going to tell you in complete honesty that almost no agents, including myself, will provide immediate feedback after every showing because we are showing other properties, and what I have to do is go call the agents that showed the property, email and text them in order to make sure that regardless if they provide feedback or not, that I do my best to get it for you. I want to make sure that there's constant communication after an open house, how the marketing is going, if there's any positive feedback, good, bad, ugly. Yeah, so even bad feedback is helpful, because if there's anything negative that's coming up constantly about the property, you want to make sure that you can address that and change it so it doesn't hurt future showings. But a lot of agents are afraid of providing bad feedback because they think it might offend the seller, but it's actually doing even worse. It's hurting the listing and stopping you from getting the job done. So those are the top 9 questions you should be asking any real estate agent when you're interviewing them. And this is gonna help you qualify them to make sure that they're the best fit for you. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button and that you subscribe to my channel for weekly real estate videos. Again, I'm Dale Corpus from eXp Realty in San Ramon, California. I help buyers and sellers throughout the Bay Area and Tri-Valley, and I'll see you on the next video.